Well, this project certainly grew. Hey y'all, APG Jamie here, and I'm happy that you're here too. So anyway, I thought I would just do some little, specimens for, Halloweenisms, y'all. It's that time of year. Hashtag Halloweenisms. Anywho's. So I thought, well, we'll just melt up some embossing powder. And the paper that I'm working on, it's the little circle there, is a silicone coated parchment paper. So really nothing sticks to it. Every once in a while something will sort of like stain it. And that's nice and hot, y'all. It's probably too hot, but there's no temperature control. So I used a little planter glue on my paper just to initially hold the bits of embossing powder in place, because this is one of those chunky ones. My goodness, that was smoking, wasn't it? It's a little smoking hot. Anyway, so I'm using different colors, and they are all listed. The colors of the embossing powders are listed in the description below, a list of ingredients. Okay. So I'm just smooshing around. That is a mini pancake maker. They have extremely short cords. Okay, just so you know. You can get them on Amazon and the Walmarts. Probably everywhere else too by now. Anyway, it's awesome sauce for melting embossing powder and doing shrink plastic if your pieces are small enough to fit in there, okay? I guess I could have measured it, but I haven't, so no. Anyway, just putting on embossing powder in places that I sort of think would look interesting. Like I said, this is the chunky embossing powder, so it is a bit different than your regular or even your fine embossing powder. So now, got all that out of the way. Now what, I'm also using a Ranger called Glow Up. It's a glow in the dark powder, y'all. And surprisingly enough, when you use it heavy enough, it glows in the dark really well, which you will see at the end of the photo montage. Just saying. So like I said, the planter glue was just there to initially hold the embossing powders in place. And because things shift around when you're moving paper and junk. So yeah, I was just goofing around, and I really didn't use that much powder. It is kind of piled up, but if you spread that same powder out over a surface, it would be okay. Now this particular brand is an Allure. I believe Seth Apter got with that company back, I don't know, few years ago. And I think he has attached his name to some of them. It is the original chunky powders, and that is my favorite. That one that I just used, fractured ice. Oh, one of my favorites. I don't use it very often because it blows around a lot with the heat gun. Hence the use of the pancake maker. Oh yeah, babe. Anyways. So now I'm just peeling them off my little parchment paper there and scraping off the little bits that, got melted and they're over there. So, anywho, setting that aside because we're going to move on. What are we going to do now? I don't know. Oh, I threw some little shrink plastic 2.5-inch circles, I think. I don't know what size they were, y'all. 2-inch. I don't know. My gosh. Anyway, these are a couple of the newer alcohol inks from Timmy. One is Smudge, one is Chronical. I love them both. And I'm just going to let that dry for just a little bit. If you don't know or you're unaware, alcohol ink is flammable. It's alcohol. Alcohol flames, y'all. So that circle wasn't exactly cut. I think part of it got cut off. So I thought, well, let's just make a spiral out of it. So we're just spiraling it around, and we're going to remove a thin little bit from the shrink plastic. Now these domed up, which I thought was very interesting. And we may go with that idea some other time, but not today. Anyways, still cutting the spiral, still shrinking the other little circle. And things pretty much shrink up. I wouldn't say 75%, but you know, they get smaller. And as they get smaller, they also get thicker. Okay, just saying. So that spiral took it a minute to go. And this is where I'm like, well, that's domed, which is kind of cool. Okay, I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but it's kind of cool. Well, with that thought, I will later on, but I don't film it, heat up those two discs that look like eyeballs staring at us. Heat them up with the heat gun by hand, obviously heat gun, yeah. And as soon as it gets hot enough and sort of flat, I will throw a heavy acrylic block on there and smash them down, and that gets rid of the little cupping poof area. So here I'm thinking I'm going to smear some, I think that was gloss gel, into the bottom. I'm going to add a little glitter. I know I have a lot of little glitters, and one of them came open, so there's a lot of loose glitter in there. Anyway, I thought if I added a little glitter, that would be interesting. Probably should have added it to the actual shrink plastic instead of the inside of my little plastic coin doolaller. These are coin cases, and I've gotten them from Amazon. I've got some smaller and some larger, and they were bought at different times. And if you insisted, I could probably find you an Amazon link, but you're probably going to find something you like if you just searched coin cases. You know, for those people that collect coins and swap them or do whatever they do with them. I don't know. They don't spend their coins, I guess. Anywho, it's just sprinkling glitter around on there. Ended up just using a couple colors because I bored of that quickly. I got bored. I'm like, oh, it's glitter. I just know it's sticking to me and it's going everywhere. And it sticks just fine to the gloss gel. Anywho, and it dries clear, not startling clear. I also at one point used a tiny bit of crazing medium. I think the same way, but without glitter. I've still not been able to get that to craze. So maybe that's why I think they discontinued that product. I don't know. Anyway, just thumping the little glitters around there, thumping that one over there, and our little shrink plastic coins will go into these. Oh, I mean, science experiments, scientifical. That was originally going to be the name of this, scientific. But I went ahead and just called it experimental, because really I am just goofing around experimenting, because I really didn't know if any of this was going to work. That's the idea I got a while back. That's the crazing medium. I'm not even sure I put that in the list of ingredients. It did add a little bit of dullness. Not dull. I don't know. Maybe you can see in the photo montage, because I didn't really keep track of which oh, the crazy ones were on the smaller coins there. Yeah, that. And that there is just one of those crappy little paint brushes that comes in with the little kid kit things. I've had it for a long time, and I'm just using it. It actually got tossed after this because I didn't wash it, rinse it out, so it got a little stiff, and I'm like, no, I'm not wasting my precious time on cleaning up a crappy brush. So that was some of the alcohol ink. I thought it would help the crazing to show, but I don't think it did. Anyway, I am kind of gluing in these plastic coins, you know, the shrink plastic, on account of they are bigger than the container, so they would rattle around in there, which would be okay, but I didn't want them to jiggle or wriggle around. So there is drying time involved in this. There is an overnight drying period. Was it one day? Yeah, it was just one night. And this is that the swirly one. the spiral. And then this, I had these little tiny pieces of plastic that we just threw in there and melted them up, and they're just going in their own little case together. So again, with the gloss gel. And they're interesting, which is kind of what a specimen slide is supposed to be, right? Educational, interesting, you know, knowledge stuff, that kind of junk. But, you know, okay. That's enough, you know, you know. Okay, now we're moving on. We got the paper coin doolallers. They fold over and encase the coin into sort of like a specimen slide, okay? And I thought, well, let's stamp some of these up. So I stamped, I don't know how many, just very few. And getting various stamp sets. I don't think I necessarily spelled out exactly which stamp sets. I have several of the Elizabeth Crafts, you know, the ones by Sam Poole with the signatures and the dates and all those. Yeah, those. Creative Expressions. Creative Expressions. Anyway, I think I listed just basic Creative Expressions. Anyways, just stamping them around. And there's not much of an edge on this, and it is a lightweight chipboard of sort. So yeah, and the plastic's your usual, I don't know if it's your usual, I shouldn't say that, it's the cellophane type package or plastic on there. And I will use art glitter glue to glue those shut. I know I've got a lot of quick screens here, don't I? No transitions. Anyways, once you close them, they're pretty well closed. So you want to sort of make sure you don't have a lot of stuff. Like I said, some of these embossing powders have the glow in the dark. Some of them don't. So I'm just going to run a thin line of that on there. Some of them I put too much. And really, I think these, although I've not tested it, so don't take my word for it, I think you can just moisten the inside of that and then close it and it sticks together. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. I didn't read the instructions that came with them, that who knows where that is. Anyway, we're just stamping a few of them. I know I've already said that. And half of them, I guess about half of them got stamped and half of them didn't. Some of them didn't, so, you know. And I did not label the little plastic container ones at all. So, technically, those could be labeled with stickers. They'd have to be pretty tiny, though. Just saying, pretty tiny. So, anyway, stamping off, trying to clean the stance, archival black soot if it should matter. And here's the vermilion red. Like that. Yeah. Anyway, I hope everyone is looking forward to this whole month. Well, I don't know. Does it matter? Does it matter? No. It's just another month on the calendar, isn't it? So it's Halloweenisms. Okay, so this one we're going to put that in, and they, oh, the little embossed pieces there, the heat embossed piece, they are sort of delicate, so use a light hand with them, okay, and they will blow around, so be careful if you're blowing stuff around, got a fan going, because, you know, it could be hot where you are. I don't know where you are. And this is the Sizzix Expand paste. It is in the color white. It looks creamy, very creamy right there. And I'm just making little piles on my little craft mat there. This is experimental for sure right here. I've done the embossing powder that way before. And the shrink plastic, of course, we've done with alcohol inks many times. So here we're going to use embossing powder on the wet expanding paste. Okay. Now I did several tests and swatching of sorts with the expand paste, I don't know, a while back. If I think about it, that's a big if, y'all. I will try to add a link to that because it's interesting stuff. Anyway, just going to heat gun the first pile with no embossing powder on it. And I notice it's kind of blowing my powder around. So I'm going to get something to help block the fan in a minute. And by fan, I mean heat gun, y'all. just decided, well, let's just go ahead and add a little alcohol ink on this one. You know, it started bumping up. It gets, it expands, y'all. It gets bumpy. It's interesting. So where it's turning white is where it's actually expanding at, and I guess that's where I noticed it was blowing some of the powder. I know if I use the word interesting again, would that indicate that it was an interesting procedure? Now you can also, this can dry naturally, and you can come back later and heat gun it, y'all, and it will expand as well. Just saying. So it's interesting. All right, that one, I've just got my knife up there trying to shield off the other piece so too much of that powder doesn't blow away before I'm actually ready for it. And the expand paste is kind of bumping up and moving around the embossing powder, but yet the embossing powder is melting and it's kind of moving around with the expand paste. The expand paste turns white. Okay, I think they have other colors, but don't quote me on that. I only have this one, which is plenty. As you can see, that was a pretty big jar. If anything, they would make a smaller jar and sell it for another $1, because that's how you merchandise, y'all. Okay, then we'll scrape this one up, and I was going to put it in a thing, but then when I flopped it over, I noticed, oh well, it's still kind of wet back there. So we're going to heat gun the back part because it didn't get dry, and that's okay. It would have been okay if I'd have left it alone too. It would have been just fine. And do I peel them all up and heat gun all of them on the back side? I don't know. I've been sleeping since I did this editing. I don't have very many times where I can do it all in one day. Anyway. Does it fit? Fits. That is a handy little tool. Instead of having to use your fingernails, you can use it to just kind of like pop it in there and pop them apart. I glue them shut because I don't want them popped apart. These are specimens. They're not coins to be handled, taken out and handled. They're specimens to be kept safe. I don't think I glued these in on account of they are in there so that they wouldn't necessarily shake around. I'm not going to shake them to find out, y'all. So okay. It doesn't really stick. I mean, it's kind of stuck around the edges, but you know, you can see it just comes right up. And I thought, well, that's all white. Let's put some ink on the back. So we put some ink on the back of all of them, I do believe. And I'm probably showing you way more than you need to see, but you know me. I'd rather you see too much than not enough. And one of the projects we do later, because yeah, I'm telling you, well, it was actually the one I started first, but I put all the film clips of that particular one together. So, yeah. I think that's the last one, the last experimental type project that we're doing. Okay, I think it will be. So, yeah. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Oh, here, I'm just going to use some glossy accents to glue the little cases together. I don't know how well it will hold, but it should hold well enough, right? Yeah. What are my intentions to do with these things? I have no idea. I have no intentions. You might want to leave a comment. Anyway, it never hurts. Doesn't hurt you. Doesn't hurt me. Just never know. Anyway, gluing those shut. And anytime you glue something shut, you want to let it set and dry at least overnight. Over weekends probably better, because these are, don't think I'd say they were airtight, but you know, they're kind of airtight, kind of. So if anything is the least bit damp, depending on your weather, humidity might form inside of it if it's damp, you know, like a terrarium even. Okay. So we got that. I know we only have an hour left. Not really. Oh, I thought, what's a specimen slide without a birthday bug? So I stamped out some cockroaches in coffee colored brown ink, and they don't always die cut out really super well. So I just cut the legs off of them, and I'm going to layer it up because I want this roach to have some oomph to it. I want it to have some body to it. And it is stamped on cardstock. And I'm just going to layer them together. I was originally going to keep those legs, but I think I'm like, yeah, let's just get rid of them. We don't need those legs. Yeah. Anyway. Smooshing all my little layers together. I might have could have zoomed in closer, but obviously I didn't. Okay, that's the bug with the legs we're keeping. All right, smash them together, smash him. I should have used my roller on him, but he smashed together just fine. He smashed roach, y'all. The way we like our roaches around here. Smashed. Anyway, it's like a tree roach. I know some of y'all get, 5-6 inch size roaches. We don't got that kind. We got big ones, but they're not that kind. Anyway, that's a tiniest bit of gold paint. I don't think I listed that either, but it's gold paint. And I watered it down so it's a wash, and we're washing over the roach because I want it to be shiny. Well, a little shiny. It's not necessarily a roach. I mean, etymology. It's a bug of some sort because it's got 4 legs. Those things wrapping around its head like feelers. And I'm like, dry. Just hurry up and dry. Okay, dry. I'm trying it with my hand. And we're going to overstamp it. Now, this is very risky. Very risky indeed. And I'm lightly tapping it on there. And as you may be able to see when you look at the stamp, it's not necessarily covered 100%, which is okay. I'm just trying to bring back some of the darker lines. I know I originally stamped with the brown coffee, and this time I'm stamping with black. So you can kind of see that it kind of brought back some of the lines. I'm going to let that dry a little bit. And we're just going to glue on the black cardstock piece, which is to add a bit of a shadow underneath it. Just a bit, just a touch. I like the effect. You don't have to do it. You don't have to layer them. You don't have to use bug stamps at all. Anyway, this is going to go into a mini, M-I-N-I, style of ink pad. I believe it was Nina Rabina had ordered some, and they came and they were so small and she didn't like them, so she didn't use them, but she used one of them to put a butterfly in. I loved that idea, so I stole it. I mean, I'm an artist. I can borrow ideas. Anyway, so that's what we're going to be using because I ordered me some. I'm like, I love them, and yes, they are a perfect little specimen case. Now, they are thick. They're what, half an inch to 3/4 of it, maybe even a whole inch thick. So it's not something you put necessarily in a journal necessarily, but you make your journals the way you want them. Or you could put it on a cover, or you could just have it on a knick-knack shelf. And I'm using pop dots right in the middle of the body. I have bowed it up with my thumb so that it's the center part of the body is kind of bowed up. And we used a good amount of Aleene's Original Tacky Glue. And I'm going to add some glue under the little legs there because I want the legs down. Just a little. And I made a label, and it's too long. So we just cut off some of the numbers. It's okay. Now, anytime you have a label inside something, chances are it's not going to be dirty, dusty. So I did not ink it at all. That was my idea, my thoughts anyway. Now, you could also take the foam pad off and put velvet back there. Yeah, you could put like jewelry in a case or something. I mean, ideas, people, ideas. So, anyway. Just going to leave that piece, that tweezers on there to just weight down that one little leg. And now I'm going to glue this inside. Is it necessary to glue it shut? Probably not, but I chose to because I didn't want them opened. Okay? Okay. They're forever like this. Well, I don't know how forever Glossy Accents is. But we made a label. We already made a label. I know. You didn't know we did that. And we're going to use double-sided tape and I think glossy accents. And we're going to put it on the bottom because it's specimen. It needs some kind of label somewhere on there. We just put a little number inside, but you know, it's not enough information. So now we have enough information. I don't know what it says. It doesn't matter, but you know, there we go. Okay, we will make another one. And I thought I would do a feather, so I got my feather jar out. And I saw this little whitey one with the little spots on it. And I thought, I love that one. I want to use it. But it disappeared on the foam, right? And I didn't feel like digging out black velvet or any of that stuff to cover that up with. So I thought, well, let's just put a darker, bold feather behind it. Okay. Now it makes a very, very, in my opinion, it's my opinion. Okay. That's typically the only thing I talk about. My opinion. It looks super cool on the red feather to me. And it looks like a very interesting feather. Now you can't necessarily tell that it's two different feathers. So if you think it's two different feathers, you need to change your attitude right now. Because now, oh, stuck to my finger. Now it is one feather. How super cool is that, y'all? I think it's super cool. And I'm just going to arrange the little hairs with my little tweezers there and brush them out and comb them out and all that kind of stuff. And oh, it's still sticking to that finger. I must have something sticky on that finger. I don't know what. So we're going to make our label for the back of the feather one because I thought maybe I would want to see it after all. And I'm just using whatever labels from whatever Timmy said I have. I think I listed out those specific CMSs, clean mount stamp numbers. Anyway. Love the little round red one, so we're going to do another one of those. That's just scrap cardstock, y'all. And we're fiddling around. Now we're going to trim these out because they're probably fairly dry enough that it's not going to smudge too much. Because sometimes the ink will smudge on archival. Sometimes it will. Okay. Trimming out that little number. Of course, it's a perfectly straight line. Please. Do I cut anything else? You gotta keep your straight thoughts on when you're cutting. Especially round ones. Okay. I'm going to rough that one up. I'm like, oh, let's just rough that one edge. Because on the stamp, one edge is kind of like distressed. You know, Timmy likes his distressedness. So we're going to use coffee ink. And I decided to kind of fold it up. So I folded it up, made some little wrinkles in that little round one. Again, keeping the one inside clean. And now we're just going to laying that on there and barely, I mean, it's just barely brushing against the black ink pad, and then I lay it upside down on top of my scrap paper and smoosh it around so that it does smear ever so slightly. Gentle touch, people. Okay, so now we're back to our little case again with the double-sided tape on the advanced tape glider and the glossy accents. Which I keep cleaning my nozzle and putting it up, and then I'm like, well, I need that again. So, you know, I waited till the end of the day that time. So, okay, our feather is slightly too big. So let's trim off a little bit of that spine down there. Like, yeah, that's better. Still looks like one spine to me. So if you think it's two spines, change your attitude. I know we already said that. Still true. Okay. Now you just got feather dust everywhere. Just saying. I don't know if a feather duster would pick up feather dust. I don't know. Okay. Gluing that one over there. How well is the glue going to hold onto the foam pad? I don't know. Because it is foam pad, y'all. And it's not super loose. It's somewhat dense, but not total, not like a makeup sponge dense. Anyway. Brushing those out. Oh, it's okay. And we leave that alone, let it dry a long time. This is the project I started with. I just took an interesting stencil. I think it's bricks and I don't know, whatever it is. And put a little brown. This is the Crafters Workshop stencil butter. Oh, it's lovely stuff, y'all. I love that green. It's got just a perfect amount of shimmer to it. The other ones don't have shimmer that I've noticed. Well, that orangey one does. Anyway, beautiful colors that work extremely well together. So, one more mustard color. I don't think it's called mustard. I don't think I listed the colors at all. Do you get a guess? Just smearing it around on the stencil. And I'm using one of those sticky mats. So the stencil is very secure. And there we go. I didn't get any bleed through. Now it's dried over a morning and part of an afternoon. So I'm putting on a coat of clear gloss gel. We're making a skin. Okay. And I'm smearing that around because I want my pieces to all stay together when I pull them off. Okay, so we put that on there, and that stayed overnight. And then the next day, when I went back to work, I put on another coat. First thing in the morning, put on another coat of the gloss gel. Okay, and now I've come back, and I've already die cut, well, punched out 2 circles, but because the skin is so ultra sticky, because it is, matte mediums, or, you know, mediums, acrylic mediums will somewhat be sticky. So I brushed over the one side with a gel, or bless my heart, a varnish, a gloss varnish, let that dry, flipped it over, put the varnish on the back side or the front side, whatever, so that it would get a hard like surface to it, and then still covered it with a deli paper and a piece of paper on the back, and used my punch to punch out some circles. And now I'm placing my 2 skins back to back inside the paper coin holder that we did not decorate. Because you don't have to. And Molly, I don't know if you can hear her, but if you hear that, that's Molly. She's sleeping. Yeah. I don't know if you can hear her. Probably not, but maybe. So we're stacking those up together, and I'm going to Ellie them all together. And I finished up some of the other projects that we had going, and now it's the flip-flop section. And here are our coins in the cases. Our specimens, our experimental specimens. Yeah, I don't know how well it is to see, but, you know, we will have a photo montage. I like some of them better than others, but there's not any that I don't like. So it's definitely a doable project again, just saying. And just so you know, if you think about it, you can use the coin cases. You don't have to put encase something inside of it. You can use one side or the other. Okay. All right, now it's the time for the paper ones. I say paper because they're flatter. And I actually kind of think they may be my favorite. Okay. I don't remember if I used any glow-in-the-dark on the plastic case ones. So I guess some of those may glow-in-the-dark too. I don't know. The paint skins definitely don't glow in the dark, and they're interesting, but I don't know that I'd do all that again because it's a lot of drying time. Oh, there's our big old roach. Doesn't he look cool? I know it's a big chunky thing, but that's okay. Very cool looking. Love the feather. I do. I love that. Ta-da! Photo montage. There will be a picture of the glow-in-the-darks. It'll be like the last ones, okay? So cool. I so enjoyed it. It got a little chaotic because I had things in various stages of dry. So, you know, if you're just doing the embossing powder, then yeah, you don't have to wait for nothing. Just cool off, baby. There's all our coins all jumbled up together. I don't know about the glitter either. I don't know about that. Here's our little thingies in their little paper cases. Fractured eyes, love that. Here's our golden roach. Hey, y'all. I love the feather. I've had a thing for red lately. I don't know if you've noticed on Mini Moves or not. Anyway, there's the back. So anyway, I appreciate kind comments, likes, your shares across your platforms, your subscriptions. There's the glow in the dark, y'all. I know it's a little blurry. It's hard to take pictures in the dark. Glow in the dark. Sweet. Subscribe, y'all. Thanks for watching, and happy arting, y'all. Scientifical.